Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, my name's Jenny and this is Arnold the Praying Penguin, and today we're going to be talking about baby names that I love but won't be using. If you haven't been here before, I'm in my third trimester with my first baby, and we actually picked out a name back at our 20-week scan and we've been using it ever since and we really like it, so pretty sure we're going to be sticking with that name. And I haven't shared that name yet and I won't be showing that name yet in this video, but I wanted to talk about some other baby names that I really like. And we wanted to add in a bit of a twist. So we're going to be talking in particular about biblical baby names that we find in the Bible. Because of course Bernard is here and he loves the Bible. And on this channel we talk about prayer, about exploring the Bible and about living out your faith. So I thought this would be a really fun way to combine the Bible and baby content. And this also works quite well because a lot of the names that I do really like do also come from the Bible. But I'm not going to say whether the name that we have chosen is from the Bible or not. You'll just have to wait until baby is born to find that out. So we have 5 boys' names and 5 girls' names to talk about from the Bible. And some of these are names that I would consider using for a future baby, but some of them are ones that we wouldn't use either because family and friends have already used them, already have these names, or because they don't kind of sound very good with our surname, for example, different reasons like that. So let's get started with the boys' names first. So the first name I really like is Joshua. So this is a Hebrew name, it means God is my salvation. I really love the name Joshua and kind of the shortened nickname of Josh. I think they're both really cute and work for like tiny babies and adults. I think that's a perfectly normal adult name as well. And in the Bible you can read all about Joshua in the book of Joshua. He was chosen by God to lead the 12 Israelite tribes after Moses had died. So he was very much a strong leader who followed God and who God promised to be with always. The second name that I really like is Zach, and I think the longer version of this that I would use is Zachary. I really like the sound of Zachary and Zach, but in the Bible it's usually Zachariah or Zechariah. I'd never actually heard of Zechariah being used kind of in modern day. Until quite recently someone that I follow on Instagram has a son called Zechariah, and it's definitely kind of grown on me and it kind of seems a bit more kind of normal and usable, but I think I would kind of tend to veer towards Zach rather than Zech. But again, this is a Hebrew name that means God has remembered, and Zachary, Zach, Zechariah, Zachariah, they all mean that same thing. They're all kind of derivatives of the same name. So in the Bible, Zechariah is a minor prophet in the Old Testament. You can find the book of Zechariah towards the end. And then in the New Testament, there was a Zechariah who was the father of John the Baptist. The third name that I really like is Daniel. Again, this is a Hebrew name and it means only God is my judge. And of course, in the Bible, Daniel is very famous for the story of Daniel in the lion's den, but there's a whole book called Daniel in the Old Testament, and that's where we have the story of Daniel and the lion's den, but we also have the story of Meshach, Shadrach and Abednego in the fiery furnace as well, and those are both 2 of my favourite kind of Old Testament Bible stories. I think they're both such powerful stories. The fourth name that I really like is Solomon, and this definitely isn't a name that I've heard used very much. I don't know anybody called Solomon, and I'm not sure that I would necessarily use this name. I think I would have to be quite brave. And it does sound quite old-fashioned to me, but I think it's still a really, really nice name. Again, it's Hebrew and it means peaceful one, from the word shalom. So again, lots of these names are quite kind of strong leader characters with really strong meanings. So I quite like this as a bit more of like a gentle, peaceful name. But in the Bible, Solomon was a king of Israel. He was the son of King David, and he was known mostly for his wisdom. And I think we all want for our children to be wise and to grow up wise. So I think that's a really nice connection. And the final boy's name that I really like is Reuben. Again, this isn't a name that I really hear being used very much, but I think it could really work. I think you can shorten it to Ben or Rue or have Reuben. Yet again, it's Hebrew and it means behold a son. And Reuben was actually the firstborn son of Jacob and Leah. And you've probably heard of him in the story of Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. He was the oldest of those brothers. He also led one of the tribes of Israel. Okay, so let's move on to the girls' names. The first girl's name that I really like is Abigail, and this is a Hebrew name meaning joy of the father. And I wasn't 100% sure where the name Abigail came from in the Bible. I kind of knew it was in there somewhere, but I couldn't have told you exactly who was Abigail until I did some research. And Abigail was actually married to a man called Nabal, who refused to give food and shelter to David when he was on the run from King Saul. And then when Nabal was killed, David married Abigail and she became one of his wives. But she was also known for being both really beautiful and really wise. The second girl's name that I really like is Naomi. And Naomi is another Hebrew name that means beautiful and gentle. And in the Bible we read about Naomi in the book of Ruth, because Naomi was Ruth's mother-in-law. When her husband and both of her sons were killed, she tells Ruth to return back to her home, but Ruth refuses and wants to stay with Naomi. And we have this really wonderful relationship of loyalty. The third girl's name I really like is Hannah, which is a Hebrew name meaning grace. And I really love the story of Hannah in the Bible. You can read it at the beginning of 1 Samuel, but Hannah is desperately praying for a baby. She really wants a child. And this prayer hasn't been answered. So she's desperately crying out to God and promising that if he gives her a child, she will give that child back to God. So when she does give birth to her son, she then brings him back to Eli in the temple to be raised to serve God. And that child was Samuel. The fourth girl's name that I really like is Lydia. So Lydia is the only not Hebrew name on this list. It's actually Greek and it means from Lydia, which is a place in Greece. But I think Lydia is another character in the Bible that we don't hear very much about. You can read about her in Acts 16, but she is in Philippi selling purple cloth when she meets Paul, and he converts her to Christianity. And the final name that I really like from the Bible is the name Elizabeth. This is again a Hebrew name and it means God is my oath. And in the Bible, Elizabeth is a cousin to Mary, Jesus' mother. And she's also married to Zechariah, who we talked about earlier, and is the mother of John the Baptist. And she is the one who Mary goes to when she hears from the angel Gabriel that she's going to have a baby. Mary goes to her cousin Elizabeth and she helps her and they worship God together. So those are just 10 names that I really love but won't be using for this baby. I think these are all really wonderful names that are really rooted in the Bible. And I'd love to hear down in the comments what are your favourite names from the Bible. I'd also love to know down in the comments if you have any guesses for what we might be naming this baby, whether this list has given you any clues or just made you more confused. When this video comes out, there'll only be less than a month until my due date, so you won't have to wait too long to find out what this baby is called. But if you enjoyed this video and maybe learned something new about some characters in the Bible, do give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more videos from me and Arnold and Bernard. And if you'd like to see more of Bernard exploring the Bible, then definitely check out these videos that are on screen now. But for now, we will see you next Saturday for a new video. Bye!